this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
You're listening to a podcast, so you're doing something else too, like maybe scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving places you like without thinking you'll get them, because that's what house hunting has become. But Redfin isn't built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, which means when you find a place you love, you've got a real shot at getting it. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Hey, this is U.S. Olympic gold medalist Tara Davis-Woodhull.
And I'm U.S. Paralympic gold medalist Hunter Woodhull.
As athletes, our lives are about having a clear path.
And a team that you can absolutely trust.
So when it came to getting the best mortgage,
we chose PennyMac.
PennyMac is proud to be the official mortgage provider of Team USA and you.
Learn more at pennymac.com. PennyMac Loan Services, LLC, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 35953. Licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. Conditions and restrictions may apply.
Time for a sofa upgrade? Introducing Anabay Sofas, where designer style meets budget-friendly prices. Anabay brings you the ultimate in furniture innovation with a modular design that allows you to rearrange your space effortlessly. Perfect for both small and large spaces, Anabay is the only machine-washable sofa inside and out. Say goodbye to stains and messes with liquid and stain-resistant fabrics that make cleaning easy. Liquid simply slide right off. Designed for custom comfort, our high-resilience foam lets you choose between a sink-in feel or a supportive memory foam blend. Plus, our pet-friendly, stain-resistant fabrics ensure your sofa stays beautiful for years. Don't compromise quality for price. Visit washablesofas.com to upgrade your living space today. Sofas start at just $699 with no-risk returns and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Get up to 60% off, plus free shipping and free returns. Shop now at washablesofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
Cool Zone Media. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to Behind the Bastards. I'll be leading this episode. I am your executive producer, Sophie Lichterman. I'm going to ask Robert some of your questions. Robert, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing, it's that fun time of the year where the holidays are over.
Yeah.
We still don't quite have to work, but also I can feel it coming, the real world, having to get back into the real world,
Yeah.
So that part's not great. The looming knowledge that the stuff that you were like, the world's over, news is over, I don't have to pay attention to anything for the next period of time. Well, that period of time has come to an end, and it's time to re-engage with reality. I'm at that part of the year, so, mixed.
Yeah. What was a highlight for you over your semi-time off?
I don't know. Not really any particular highlight. I just didn't do much.
Excuse me?
We had a party.
Thank you. And your highlight wasn't starting fire with the lightsaber torch I got you?
Yeah, you got me a lightsaber torch that I started a fire with. That was fun.
You looked really cool.
You got me some nice liquor. That was fun.
I did. You did. You looked very cool that night.
Yeah.
Robert got me every year. Robert gets me some kind of really cool weapon. At the beginning of 2025, he got me a Bowie knife after I had surgery. Everybody else sent flowers. Not my business partner, Robert. Got me a really cool axe one year, a machete.
what you called,
And
Sophie, this is your purse knife, which was one of my favorite things you've ever said to me. And this year,
everyone needs a purse knife. Yeah,
you got me this thing.
yeah. It's like it's a Moroccan like a ceremonial dagger. So you're supposed to. I think it's like 100 years old. You're supposed to.
It's beautiful.
Wear it at weddings and kind of fancy events like that. I could stand to do some rehab on the blade for you.
Cool.
Because it's kind of dull at the moment. But you could cut like a goat's throat with that if you had to. If you're being attacked by a goat and had to defend yourself with a knife, it would work for that.
It's pretty cool. You also one year for my birthday got me this like horseshoe knife. That's like for like that looks like a horseshoe, but it's for like a cheese board. I get compliments on all the time. And
I love that knife.
Robert's a great gift giver, everybody. Anyways,
it's easy if you're just getting knives.
Yeah, but nobody gives me a knife the way you give me a knife. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
We got 481 comments on the thread asking for questions
Unhinged.
for this Q&A
Sure.
as of time of recording, which is New Year's Day, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna ask as many as we have time for. You ready?
Mm-hmm. Let's do it. Let me get a slug of my Mountain Dew Baja Blast.
Shut the fuck up. That's what you're drinking?
Yeah,
Is
baby.
it good?
Yeah, sugar-free Baja Blast.
Do I need to drink that? Because I've got a I've got a Schweppes. Is that how you say it? I don't even know if that's how you say it. It's bad. Schweppes. Got a Schweppes.
Schweppes. Yeah, that sounds right. I know what you're talking about.
That's a good ginger ale. Wait, do I need to drink that?
I wouldn't recommend it. It's not good.
Fair enough. Unless you want to sponsor us, Mountain Dew, then
yeah, sure. Then it's great.
Then we'll say whatever you want. Anyways, what are your tips and tricks for identifying false information while doing your research?
Well, that's tough because there's such like a wide variety of false information, right? And some there's not really any basic tips that can help. I call this like good-natured disinformation or good-natured bad information, and it's no one's trying to propagandize you, no one's trying to like fuck with you. It's just a false version of reality has spread because somebody got a story wrong and started telling it, and other people have been like retelling it and adding into it. And if there's not like an agenda, that's kind of hard. You just have to actually dig into like what the work historians have done. I would say as a general rule, if something sounds too good to be true, like if it's exactly what you want to believe about a really complicated and difficult situation, you should take a second look at it. And if it just sounds like too cool and wacky and like something in a movie, like a lot of times that is true. A lot of times history is crazier than anything that winds up in a movie. But if there's like a specific anecdote that I'm like, I don't know, I'll just like type a description of that anecdote in, and then I'll put in like ask historians Reddit or something like that to see if, and that gets rid of the low hanging fruit, right?
Sure.
If it's common disinformation or a common just like inaccuracy that gets spread around, someone who knows their shit will have talked about it there and will have sources, right? So you're not just relying on a Reddit post. You can look back, you can find where the myth has been busted. You can also just like type in again, like a brief description of the anecdote, comma, myth, comma, something like that to see if like it has been discussed in that context, or if there have been, a lot of times what you'll find is historians who are analyzing it and who have found, okay, these couple of parts probably aren't true. This part might be surprisingly true, but like that's kind of how I go about doing that sort of thing. If you're asking about like, how do you tell if like pictures or videos are AI generated, that's a separate set of like skills and tactics that probably runs longer than we have in this episode. But when I'm just like casually studying history and I come across something that I'm like, I don't know about that. It's also useful when you are reading a history book, when you like, especially like if it's kind of more on the pop history side of things and you're really enjoying it, that always, if it's super entertaining and I find myself like unusually into it, sometimes that's just a sign that like a really good writer got a hold of some history, but it's also sometimes a sign that like someone's massaging the facts to make a better piece of pop history. So I will search for the book and variations of like historians analyze, response from a historian, and see, are there some professionals who have better or equivalent credentials to the author who have taken issue with some of the claims that they've made, right? These are all kind of like tactics that you can use. There's not like a one size fits all.
And like, how many sources are you using for different things? I feel like never just accept one source.
You try not to accept one. Every now and then you run into something where like, well, there's really one book about this guy, or there's like one good book about this thing. And I will at least try then to like come across like, well, what's some like untrue, what are some bad books? Like what's some bullshit that got spread? Because then at least we're broadening it from here's what's in that book to, and here's some stuff that spread that's not true or whatever. Like you try to, like when I'm at least putting together the podcast, I always want to be saying, like, okay, there's more than is just in this one source. Like when I was working on the Nuke episodes, I started reading that Annie Jacobsen book. I realized that there's a number of people who have some good issues with that book, including some I discussed in the episode. So I read 2 other books, and I read that John Rubel's essays and stuff, because they provided like more context. And when I looked at the stuff, okay, there's people who have like issues with this part of Jacobson's book, but they seem to speak highly of Command and Control. So why don't I use, for that segment of the history, I'll focus more on what Command and Control or what 15 Minutes has to say. And that way, number one, you're getting a more varied, you're giving the listeners, the audience, something more varied and effortful than just here's one book and what one guy said in one book. And you're also hopefully avoiding some of like the most obvious pitfalls.
Sure. And I mean, again, just to say the obvious, never trust the Google AI summary.
No. And you can always, when you're Googling now, if you just want to avoid that, just with whatever you're typing in, add -AI at the end, just a space and then -AI. And it doesn't mean that there won't be AI generated articles or whatever in your responses. That's basically impossible to avoid, but it cuts out the AI generated summary, because that alone, sometimes it's right. And when it's right, it's like fine, I guess. But the downside is when it's right, you'll read that instead of reading an actual source that probably will tell you more. And it's also hard to tell when it's wrong. And there's often just kernels of wrong baked into the right. And you're really doing yourself more of a favor by trying to find a better source. So I find that just not having that little summary there can kind of like avoid you sort of casually, almost because sometimes it's accidental. Sometimes you can't, just the way your brain works, your eyes work, you're going to read part of that summary even before you scroll down.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Even if you are scrolling down to read a real thing, you may catch something in there and not realize that you're picking up some disinformation. So I kind of start with that. Like that's my baseline. You can do the same thing on DuckDuckGo, I think. So I've been using that more. I'm kind of experimenting. I'm hoping to find this next year like a search engine solution that I'm happier with, because nothing that we've got right now is better than Google was like 6 years ago. But I found DuckDuckGo generally better than Google now, and doing the -AI, thing gets you better, like, or at least reduces the odds of you getting some bad information.
Sure. What bastard or bastards have you not done because the research will take too long or they're just too complicated?
I mean, I haven't done the Nixon episode yet because there's so many books that I know I need to get through to do it. And that's only part of it. I had been planning to do it in 2024 and talked about doing it with the Dollop guys. They were on board. And my dad got sick, and I just haven't gotten, like, it's been a while now. I should have gotten back into it. I just kind of haven't, because it's such a heavy lift.
Sure.
I haven't done Mao yet for the same reason. I do those heavy lifting episodes periodically throughout the year. The Nuke one was a heavy lift. There were a number of books involved in that. Himmler was a heavy lift. A number of books involved in that.
Just to say,
the Zizians was a heavy lift.
Several comments on Himmler. People want more Himmler.
People always want more Himmler. That's what everyone was saying when he died. So like I try to do like at least every quarter, like a heavy lift effort, longer episode, but there's a lot of those. So there's not like a particular reason other than I just didn't feel confident tackling that one at that time.
Sure. This next one says, what are some unexpected commonalities between bastards other than grew up in poverty and had abusive parents / guardians?
Yeah, I wouldn't even say, I mean, those are commonalities between a number of bastards from specific time periods, but they're not commonalities, I think, because being poor or having like a household where, you know, you don't have both parents around is a common thing with bastards. It just was really common for kids growing up in those time periods. Like, should we see it as significant that Hitler was poor and that his dad died when he was young and his mom died tragically when he was not a whole lot older and it really fucked him up? But it's like, but those were really normal experiences for just kids in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Sickness and disease were a lot easier to, you know, just wipe out portions of your family, and poverty of that sort was a lot more common. So I think you're kind of like a misnomer if you're looking at that as like and those are common traits of monsters, because even if we're looking at the Nazis, it was more common for the big Nazis to have been comfortable and of like what we might call at least like a middle class upbringing than it was for them to be as like poor and downtrodden as Hitler was. And he really, you know, he had a very tough childhood, but I would say that's almost the exception more than it is the rule. One of the big rules is a kind of, I mean, it's almost like too much to say, not even like a sense of megalomania, but a desperation to be somebody, to like be someone who matters in your society as like you see it, and like this kind of desperate need to be attached to whatever group is in power, right? It's this yearning to be close to power that I think often predicts a lot of like the worst people, like the folks who will do anything for their career to like improve the perception of their place in society. That's like the biggest warning sign, I think, that you see that somebody's going to do some really bad shit.
Let's go to a quick ad break, and then
Sure.
we'll be back with more questions.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
Time for a sofa upgrade? Introducing Anabay Sofas, where designer style meets budget-friendly prices. Anabay brings you the ultimate in furniture innovation with a modular design that allows you to rearrange your space effortlessly. Perfect for both small and large spaces, Anabay is the only machine-washable sofa inside and out. Say goodbye to stains and messes with liquid and stain-resistant fabrics that make cleaning easy. Liquid simply slide right off. Designed for custom comfort, our high-resilience foam lets you choose between a sink-in feel or a supportive memory foam blend. Plus, our pet-friendly, stain-resistant fabrics ensure your sofa stays beautiful for years. Don't compromise quality for price. Visit washablesofas.com to upgrade your living space today. Sofas start at just $699 with no risk returns and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Get up to 60% off, plus free shipping and free returns. Shop now at washablesofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
Hey, this is U.S. Olympic gold medalist Tara Davis-Woodhull.
And I'm U.S. Paralympic gold medalist Hunter Woodhull.
As athletes, our lives are about having a clear path.
And a team that you can absolutely trust.
So when it came to getting the best mortgage,
we chose PennyMac.
PennyMac is proud to be the official mortgage provider of Team USA and you.
Learn more at pennymac.com. PennyMac Loan Services, LLC, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 35953. Licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. Conditions and restrictions may apply.
Discover a spectacular island destination with crystal blue seas, endless sunshine, and the cool Bahamian breeze. Baha Mar, located in Nassau, Bahamas, offers your choice of 3 luxury hotels: the richly refined Rosewood, the playfully hip SLS, and the stylishly modern Grand Hyatt. With over 45 restaurants, bars, and lounges, Baha Mar serves up delicious dining from world-renowned chefs like Daniel Boulud and Marcus Samuelson. Nightlife venues like the new Jean Baptiste Jazz Club and the Caribbean's most luxurious casino. At Baha Mar, you'll find every pleasure under the sun and one-of-a-kind experiences for the entire family, like Baha Bay, our 15-acre lush tropical water park, interactive wildlife experiences, including our daily flamingo parade, world-class golf, tennis, spa, and so much more. Visit bahamar.com today and discover a vacation destination where memories are made for a lifetime. Baha Mar, life spectacular.
We're back. All right. So, Robert, what made you initially want to become a journalist? Was there a specific journalist or publication that inspired you to take that path?
I mean, I remember as a kid during the Yugoslav Civil War and the genocide in Bosnia, catching some news, like live news footage from Sarajevo, and thinking that wow, what an important, serious job. Maybe I'll do something like that as an adult. Like the reporters on the ground that were talking about like what was happening in the city. I remember thinking that that's like something adults do. That's a serious job for serious people. And so I definitely that's the first time I can remember thinking that like something in line with the career I wound up picking out sounded intriguing. And then I don't know, like as an 18, 19-year-old reading Transmetropolitan for the first time. It's a comic book series with a journalist as a protagonist that's set in the far future. It's very good. It's one of the best illustrated graphic novel series I think I've ever seen, and I still revisit it every couple of years. That definitely like jazzed me up as an adolescent, as a young adult. And then I was really influenced by Occupy Wall Street. I was there at Zuccotti Park for a couple of days. I saw little bits of some of the regional ones, and I just was never happy with the coverage that was going on, either like the mainstream media coverage or the stuff that was really celebrated at the time, which was like a lot of the people who were like within the movement and kind of doing movement coverage of what was happening. I mean, that's kind of where Tim Pool came out of, right? So I think maybe I was... Maybe I could see that a problem was coming, but I was not happy with what I was seeing, and I was becoming, as I became more, in my early 20s, more acquainted with like history, and particularly like the political history of Latin America and U.S. interactions in the Middle East. I grew like more and more frustrated with the news, with what I still saw as this like really important job that I thought was being like kind of systemically done badly. When I was in college, I took courses on the Holocaust and remembrance that was about how the Holocaust has been covered in like movies and fiction, but also how the Holocaust was reported on at the time and afterwards. A lot of that stuff, by the way, made it into the episodes about how like the liberal media helped fascism get a foothold, the last time. So really, since I was in kind of like 2021, I've been thinking about like the shortcomings of our media and how disastrous those shortcomings are. And I still kind of fundamentally believe what I did as a kid, that it's like a really important job, reporting on conflict, especially for serious people. And there's just not a lot of them doing it. There are some great reporters, obviously, much better than me out there reporting on conflict. But I think the bulk of what gets written about war and genocide and conflict around the world, including, in the United States, protests and the like, is bad. And I guess I became aware of that at a pretty young age.
Just made me think about when I was in college. Early on in college, I got approval to take a class. I was a freshman. Everyone else was a senior in the class, but the professor, for some reason, let me take it. And it was a psychology of ethics class. And I had to do this report that was like most of what I worked on in that semester. And it was all about, the ethics of the insanity defense for mass shooters. And it was right after the Aurora shooting, the movie theater Batman shooting. And I think a lot of that really shaped the way that I thought about people which I think impacts a lot of our work. So I don't know, it just kind of takes like one class. I feel like sometimes it's just one assignment really to like influence you creatively.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, because when I think back on like my time in school, I can think I can only really remember like one teacher, two teachers by name that I had in like the whole 12 years.
Yeah.
But I remember moments, more than one, like 3 or 4. But there are like some moments, and really, for the most part, they were singular moments, like 3 or 4 of them that like were absolutely foundational to who I became. Which is always interesting to me, the degree to which, like, both great, like, school is just a complete blur. Like, I barely remember it. And also, I can point out, like, 3 or 4 moments where I'm like, well, that changed everything, you know?
Yeah.
I guess that's how it is sometimes.
It's definitely how it was for me.
Yeah.
There's several different questions that basically sum up to the same question from folks that they're asking, who's the oldest bastard in history?
The oldest bastard, like I'm assuming they mean like chronologically, like the first bastard in history.
Linear, yeah. That was asked several different times.
I mean, we certainly don't know his name, right? Like because here's the thing, and this is because I've talked a lot, you know, about like something that anarchists bring up quite frequently, which is how you had a lot of, in prehistory among these hunter-gatherer tribes, a lot of like extremely egalitarian communities, right? Particularly compared to like a lot of the settled cultures that followed them, right? Where there was significantly more equality between men and women. There were significantly flatter hierarchies, you know, a lot less power being invested in single individuals. And I talked about, in the manifesto episodes, about like that ikung ritual, like the shaming of the meat to like try and stop young men who are hunters from getting too big an ego because they think that hunting is all that matters, because it's like the cool, sexy job to have, right? And if you're focusing on that, you're ignoring how, well, most of our calories come from people like gathering nuts, and a lot of that work gets done by women, and also people need clothes, people need tools, all of these things that are just as important as going out and killing a deer, and in fact, necessary precursors that are a lot less sexy. So if you let like the young hunter boys get, you know, a fucking ego about them because like, well, I'm the one who brought home the meat, then you're ignoring everyone else's contributions. And that makes your whole community weaker, right? And it creates the opportunity, at least, that one of those young men's going to lose their shit and bring terrible, terrible suffering onto the rest of the community, right? But I think when we talk about that, we talk about all of these different sort of like rituals and like ceremonies and rules that different like societies adopted to deal with the problem of power, to ensure that they had flatter hierarchies, right? There's a tendency then to kind of forget something, which is that those were not part of those societies because they were more enlightened than modern people, or at least than the people that followed them. It was not like, oh, we used to understand how to be good as a society, right? Or as human beings. Like, we used to have better cultures. We used to be more ethical. We used to treat each other better, and we stopped. I think it's more accurate to say, like, well, all of those different like rules and practices are evidence of the fact that there's always been a problem with power in human cultures, and that individual people taking too much power for themselves has always been a danger. And our ancestors recognized that and have throughout the entire history of human events. And some of cultures developed methods of dealing with it. But ultimately, we have to assume all of those methods hit points of failure, right? Because those cultures didn't last, right? And they didn't beat out, in a lot of cases, the more stratified and hierarchical cultures that followed them. And so, well, I think it's really valuable to look at, here are solutions different cultures have proposed to the problem of power. The fact that they had to come up with so many different solutions is evidence of the fact that problem is kind of universal, right? And that hints at a long history of bastards, of individual assholes and cadres of assholes that have sought in every kind of society, including ancient hunter-gatherer societies, to try and take much more than their fair share from everybody else, right? And so there's certainly a long prehistory of nameless bastards out there. And I think it behooves us to remember that, both because I am one of those people who says we should be looking at what other older, different cultures developed as ways to deal with the problem of power without pretending that they definitely had it figured out. Because again, none of that stuff lasted forever, right?
Right. Let's take another quick break and we'll be back with a couple more questions.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
Tired of spills and stains on your sofa? Wash away your worries with Anabay. Anabay is the only designer sofa that's machine washable inside and out, starting at just $699. Plus, Anabay sofas are pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and feature changeable slip covers and modular pieces. Get up to 60% off site-wide with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Visit washablesofas.com to get yours now. That's washablesofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
Hey, this is U.S. Olympic gold medalist Tara Davis-Woodhull.
And I'm U.S. Paralympic gold medalist Hunter Woodhull.
As athletes, our lives are about having a clear path.
And a team that you can absolutely trust.
So when it came to getting the best mortgage,
we chose PennyMac.
PennyMac is proud to be the official mortgage provider of Team USA and you.
Learn more at pennymac.com. PennyMac Loan Services, LLC, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 35953. Licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. Conditions and restrictions may apply.
Discover a spectacular island destination with crystal blue seas, endless sunshine, and the cool Bahamian breeze. Baha Mar, located in Nassau, Bahamas, offers your choice of 3 luxury hotels, over 45 fine dining and nightlife venues, John Batiste's all-new jazz club, the Caribbean's most luxurious casino, and one-of-a-kind experiences for the entire family, like our 15-acre tropical water park, wildlife sanctuary, world-class golf course, and so much more. Visit bahamar.com today.
We're back. Robert, do you listen to music while you write scripts for the pod?
Yeah, sometimes. I used to do more. I used to listen to more music while I was writing. The last year or so, I haven't done it as much. I don't know why.
Do you have they always ask NBA players, what's the song you listen to before game time? Do you have a song you listen to before pod time?
I mean, not before recording a podcast. I have different bands that I listen to while I'm writing more often than others. A different one place I used to go a lot is the white light mixes. If you just type white light mixes in, it's a set of hour and a half long mixes that are meant for people to drive to. I think that was the initial idea, is that these are great for road trips and stuff, and so different DJs will do an hour and a half long set that you can kind of zone out to while you're driving. I found them useful over the years for writing a lot. And that's I mean, I listen to a lot of live bluegrass shows. For whatever reason, I find that helps me concentrate. Last night, as I was working on what'll be some of the first episodes of 2025, I was listening to Green Sky Bluegrass at Red Rocks. I'll listen to my ska Streetlight while I'm writing. But again, a lot of the last year, I haven't really been listening to much while writing, and I don't really know why. It comes and goes in waves.
Have you ever started an episode on someone commonly known to be a bastard, only to realize you actually agreed with them, or decided they weren't worthy of being a bastard?
I mean, the Beau Brummel episodes, I started thinking oh, this is the guy who ruined men's fashion and did a lot of damage to the psyches of men for generations by locking people into these, like, because that's how he gets portrayed a lot, as he invented the suit and made men's fashion boring and made men scared to express themselves through clothing. I don't actually think that's a fair summary of what Beau Brummel did in his life. It certainly was not fair to his intent. I think he was a much more sympathetic person than that. But I also thought there's a lot of bastardry in that story because, I mean, just English culture during the period of time that he was alive was a fucking nightmare. So I decided, like, well, this is still good for an episode.
Sure.
There's been a couple of like times, not really worth diving into, where I've heard like one story about someone that sucked, like a celebrity or whatever, and I've looked into like, okay, can I get like an episode, or is this just somebody did something shitty once?
Katy Perry.
And
we talked about doing Katy Perry once.
That happened with the Katy Perry episode where I thought the whole thing with her and the nuns, there's this like controversy over this house she was buying. It's not as bad as it seems. Like, I'm not saying I go into bat for her as a good person, but I don't think she's an interesting subject for an episode.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
Yeah, it's less that like, I don't think I've ever had it like where, oh no, this person's a hero. Although I do find some things about Beau Brummel to be kind of admirable. But it's more that like, this person just is like a person who did some shitty stuff. And that's not really a bastard, right? Like, sure. we're not declaring someone a bastard just because they like had flaws and did bad. We've all done bad things. We're not all interesting to hear about for 2 hours.
Yeah. Which bastard, past or present, would be the best podcast guest to cover a different horrible person?
Oh man. I mean, honestly, I feel like if he was alive, I would make fucking $50 million doing a podcast with L. Ron Hubbard where I just explain different cults to L. Ron Hubbard and he critiques them. Like, he explains, no, this is where you fucked up. This is where you rent a classic. It would be the least responsible podcast of all time. I would deserve to go to prison for making that show because it would just create a new generation of hyper competent cult leaders. But it would be super interesting.
So
just
funny.
Getting LRH on the record critiquing other cult leaders because they're all worse than him. He was the best at that.
Yeah, 100%. All right, guys, we'll be back on Thursday to answer more of your questions. Any final thoughts, Robert?
In the new year, fuck it. I don't know. Whatever it is to you, fuck it.
Cool.
Behind the Bastards is a production of Cool Zone Media. For more from Cool Zone Media, visit our website, coolzonemedia.com, or check us out on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Behind the Bastards is now available on YouTube. New episodes every Wednesday and Friday. Subscribe to our channel, youtube.com/@BehindTheBastards.
Tired of spills and stains on your sofa? Wash away your worries with Anabay. Anabay is the only machine washable sofa inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly prices. That's right, sofas start at just $699. Enjoy a no-risk experience with pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and changeable slipcovers made with performance fabric. Experience cloud-like comfort with high-resilience foam that's hypoallergenic and never needs fluffing. The sturdy steel frame ensures longevity, and the modular pieces can be rearranged anytime. Shop WashableSofas.com for up to 60% off site-wide, backed by a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. If you're not absolutely in love, send it back for a full refund. No return shipping or restocking fees. Every penny back. Upgrade now at WashableSofas.com. Offers are subject to change, and certain restrictions may apply.
Discover a spectacular island destination with crystal blue seas, endless sunshine, and the cool Bahamian breeze. Baha Mar, located in Nassau, Bahamas, offers your choice of 3 luxury hotels, over 45 fine dining and nightlife venues, Jean Baptiste's all-new jazz club, the Caribbean's most luxurious casino, and one-of-a-kind experiences for the entire family, like our 15-acre tropical water park, wildlife sanctuary, world-class golf course, and so much more. Visit bahamar.com today.
Flag football is exploding, and iFlag is leading the way. As the Guinness World Record holder, iFlag hosts premier flag football tournaments nationwide for boys, girls, high school girls, and adults. From first-time players to elite competitors, iFlag delivers top-level competition, unforgettable experiences, and a community built around the game. Ready to be part of it? Join the movement. Find your tournament and learn more at iflag.org. That's iflag.org.
You're listening to a podcast, so you're doing something else too, like maybe scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving places you like without thinking you'll get them, because that's what house hunting has become. But Redfin isn't built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, which means when you find a place you love, you've got a real shot at getting it. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.